Hey, here we go. Tonight's talk, I've got another request. This is a request from overseas. I'm not sure if I should talk about this talk this evening. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't, because the title is called Doubt. Today's talk is on doubt. What doubt is, how we can deal with it. Because for many people, doubt is a big problem in their life. It causes them to have sleepless nights. It causes them to worry and never being able to have any peace and happiness in their life. Because I don't know and I want to know. It's called doubt. So this evening's talk is on what doubt is and how to deal with doubt. And the different places where doubt causes problems in your life. For example, that doubt can be about what really happened in the past. What did she really do? Or what did I do? And that can be either anger or guilt. It can be doubt as to the future, which is fear and worry. It can be doubt as to oneself. Who am I and what should I be doing? And it can be doubt according to the truth. What is the best religion in the world? I am going to answer all of those this evening, so hang on to your seats. Here we go. This evening, the first thing is a doubt. I don't know what I'm going to say. This is doubt. But I've got lots of trust that whatever comes out will come out right in the end. So I know one place where people have lots of doubt is about what happened in the past. Because do you ever feel guilty? Do you ever feel that you've done something wrong or someone's done something wrong to you? And a lot of times that there's this idea in the Western world of like a presumption of innocence. You're innocent until you're proved guilty. I love that part of Western law because it's one part of our Western culture which is based on compassion. Let's forgive unless you're absolutely, definitely proved guilty beyond a measure of doubt, and give yourself the benefit of that doubt. Wouldn't it be a wonderful world if people could do that towards themselves and towards their partners and towards life? Give people the benefit of the doubt. Innocent until absolutely proven guilty. There's an old saying we have in a monastery, because one of the jobs of being an abbot is also being the expert on the monastic rules. And like being a monk, there's many things which you can't do, there's some things you can do. There's an old rule of thumb by monastic rules. If it's not absolutely, definitely, clearly in black and white disallowed, then you can do it. So it has to be definitely black and white, definitely you can't do this, otherwise it's allowable. You always give the benefit of the doubt because of compassion. Compassion is most important. And so the first part where people have doubt is about the past. Who did what, when and how, and what they really meant by that. And my goodness, we can create a lot of pain for ourselves and others by dredging up the past. In Buddhism, we learn very quickly to let go of that past. Why? It's because the past is fraught with doubt. Once it's gone, you can't pick it up again. You can't sort of do anything with it. There's this old Buddhist story about a man, I'm not sure when I last said this story, but a man who came to see his favourite monk and said, "Oh, I feel so bad, I've done a terrible thing. I've said some terrible words to my wife. Can you please somehow help me, great monk, so I can make amends for what I've said? So the bad karma can somehow be removed, so I can be absolved from my bad actions and bad speech." And the monk says, "Okay, but I have to perform a ceremony. It's a very, very rare and special Buddhist ceremony. And for this ceremony, I will need a chicken." Lots of the stories about chickens in Buddhism. And he said, "You've got to go to the market and bring me back a chicken. Not a live one, a dead one from the market." But he said, on the way home, on the way from the market to the temple, I want you to pluck that chicken, because I can't use it with all the feathers in. Pluck the chicken on the way home and throw the feathers It's on the side of the path as you come back. They're biodegradable, you're not making a mess. And so he did as he was told. He didn't know why. He went to the market, he bought a chicken, and on the way home he plucked out the feathers and threw them by the side of the road. When he got to the temple, the bird was freshly plucked. He gave it to the monk, and the monk said, "Thank you very much, come back tomorrow morning, and we'll do the second half of the ceremony." He didn't know what this monk was up to. Have I ever asked you to bring me a chicken? This is a special and very rare Buddhist ceremony, very rarely performed these days. But the monk accepted the chicken, put it in his refrigerator, and then the man came the following morning and said, "Venerable, please, can we do the second part of the ceremony? I said some terrible words to my wife. I want to somehow have them absolved." And the monk took out the chicken from the refrigerator, gave it to the man and said, "Now, I want you to retrace your steps back to the market. And on your way, pick up all those feathers you threw away last night and put them back onto the bird exactly where they were before. And only if you can do that are you absolved from your bad speech." He said, "I can't do that. Probably most of those feathers not in there anymore. And anyway, I can't put them back in the bird where they were before." He said, "That's the same with your speech. Once it comes out of your mouth, you can't grab it and put it back in again." Especially a few hours later. So he said, in future you cannot absolve what's come out of your mouth. Once it's out, it's escaped forever. And you have the karmic consequences of what you have said. You can't put the feathers back once you've plucked them from a chicken. So he said, always be careful of what you said. But how do we know what we said in the past, and who said what and why and how? Because one of the great things about the past is once it's out there, it's gone forever. And literally gone. You can't even find those feathers, where they were, or which ones they were. It's a great thing about the past. Even a few moments ago, you're not quite sure exactly what happened. And that's why that to this day I've got an argument with my brother. Which one of us had German measles when we were children? I'm sure it was me. I can actually remember going to see my teacher and he said, "No, you haven't rested enough. Go back and stay another day at home." But my brother was absolutely sure, no, it wasn't me, it was him who had German measles. So we asked our mother. And my mother said, "All I know is that just one of you had, not both." We still don't know. Isn't that the case? The past is so long ago that we can never recapture it and know for sure. It's the nature of the past to be full of doubt. We just cannot know what happened before. It's gone. You think you know, but you don't. What you have done is actually change the past to suit your tendencies of the present. There's one of these great experiments which were done, and I've got the paper in my room down in Serpentine in my monastery. So if anyone really wants to actually check this out, I can bring it next week for you. But because I never knew what I'm going to say when I'm teaching these talks, I never brought it today. But this was an experiment which was done some years ago, and a Canadian psychiatrist was about to retire. And cleaning up his office, he saw some papers. And these were papers which were from one of his earliest assignments when he just graduated as a psychiatrist. He'd interviewed a number of children at school some 30 years previously to find out about their experiences at that time, whether they liked school or they hated school, whether they had a happy home life or was unhappy, whether they were closer to their mother or closer to the father. Even simple questions like, did your parents discipline you? Which one and how? And he had all the results on these papers he'd stored away in his office. He thought, wouldn't it be interesting to trace as many of these children who are now sort of middle-aged, elderly people, And to find out, give them the same questionnaire, ask the same questions again, and see if their memory of their youth correlated with what they said at the time. And he managed to actually track down some 60 or 70 of these children who are now sort of adults, and give them this same test. Were you happy at home? Did you like school? Were you closer to your mother or closer to your father? How did your parents discipline you? Did they spank you? Did they fine you? Did they send you to your room? And what was amazing was those children who said, yeah, my parents spanked me, said, no, they never had corporal punishment. Those who said they never did anything said now they spanked them. One who said they were closer to their mother 30 years ago. In this test, they got the paper there. Now said, no, I was closer to my father. What was fascinating, what this experiment proved, was that you cannot trust your memory. What you said at the time was not how you remembered it. And this is one of the great things to know about memory. That once it's gone, the time has gone, the experience, the event has disappeared, you can never totally recall it. Memory is so uncertain. So anyone who asks you what you did yesterday or the day before, do you really recall that? If somebody says, this is not the first time you did this thing wrong, you say, you don't really know. Said, it's your turn to wash the dishes. I washed it last night. You can't really tell. The past is uncertain. Because we always get it wrong. Even, I remember talking to policemen who do road traffic accidents, when they have to get witness statements about how the accident happened. And these were eyewitnesses who saw the event happen 10 minutes before. And they say things which are completely impossible. How they remember it is not as it happened. Because what happens is, our memory is only just a part of the event. And we build up from that little seed of truth a picture of what we thought should have happened, what must have happened, what we expected to happen. It's our perception builds up the majority of the picture. And the seed of truth from the past is sometimes so small, it's swamped with the expectations of the present. We just do not know what happened in the past. So that's why, if somebody says something you disagree with them, or if you want to know what happened in the past, and who said what and why and how, whether someone did this thing to you or they didn't do this thing to you, you cannot know. Once those feathers are out of the chicken, you can't put them back again. They're blown away, gone forever. The past is like that. It's gone forever. It's like the wind where does the wind come from? We don't know. It's past. It's beyond our reckoning. The only time we know the wind is when it brushes our cheek. The present moment, that's the only experience which is real. And when the wind passes our face, it goes off into the future. Where it goes, we never can tell. The past is in the future, as the future is by its very nature full of doubt. We simply cannot know. It's marvelous if you can do this, because when you realize the past is beyond your grasp, it's gone forever, that when you start thinking of the past, and when you start delving into the past, and when you want to know what really happened, always remember you cannot be sure. It's uncertain. Its nature is of doubt. So if that happened, give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Think of yourself as having had a happy childhood. Who knows? Don't know if I had a happy childhood or not have a happy childhood. It's beyond my reckoning now, so I might as well give myself the benefit of the doubt and choose a happy childhood for the past. Why not? Because you cannot say, you do not know, it's gone, it's past. Whatever happened to you, give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Who knows what happened? And also, give other people the benefit of the doubt. They did this or they did that. Who knows? Let it go. Imagine when you do this, just how free you are from the burdens of the past. Too many people carry the coffins of the past on top of their head. I call them coffins because it's all dead stuff. And that's why people have headaches. Because they worry about the past. Who did what and who did when and how and who. And who started this anyway? You see that sort of in Palestine and Israel. Who started that anyway? My goodness, you can't say who started it. Chicken and egg stuff. See another chicken story? Will come first, chicken or the egg? You don't know. It's just full of doubt. So because of that, we should really sort of give ourselves the benefit of the doubt and give others the benefit of the doubt. They're innocent until they're proven guilty. And even in the present moment, when somebody says something to you, why do they say that? What are they doing that to me for? Please give them the benefit of the doubt. Who knows why they said that? Who knows what they mean? Very often, I've got it wrong. Haven't you got it wrong sometimes and made a fool of yourself? It comes to my mind several years ago. I was with my mother in London. She was taking me to the railway station to go to an appointment. And it was a Saturday afternoon in a busy part of London when everybody was doing their shopping. And as I was trying to avoid people, I heard someone shout out at me, "Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna." Sometimes they do that to try and stir up the monks, especially people who don't know what monks really are. And I thought that with my mother with me, I'm not going to stand for that. I decided to do to be assertive, actually to do some action, affirmative action. I decided I'm going to go and teach this idiot who doesn't know the difference between a Buddhist monk and a Hare Krishna. And so with my mother in tow, I went up to this fellow. He was wearing a beanie and jeans. It was cold. And I said, "Listen, I'm a Buddhist monk. I'm not Hare Krishna. You should know better." And that's what I said to him, with my mother just behind me. And at that, he took off his beanie. He had a bald head with a little pigtail behind. He said, "Yeah, I know you're a Buddhist monk. I'm Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna." And why do those things always happen when your mother is with you? I completely got it wrong. Because I was in a bad mood, I thought that guy was trying to, give me a hard time. Why didn't I give him the benefit of the doubt? When someone calls you Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, why did I think that he may be a Hare Krishna? I'd have lived a much happier life if I keep doing things like that. Give other people the benefit of the doubt with what they say. And that way, and also, if somebody is really angry at you, give them the benefit of the doubt. They may have had a really hard time that day. When people get angry at you, it is because they are hurting. You all know that story of the fellow. This is another chicken story, one of my favourite stories. I'll go over it briefly because I think I said this 3 or 4 weeks ago. The guy who went to the market because his wife needed some eggs. And he went to the market, first time there, and this guy came up to him, this young man, and called him all sorts of names. You stupid. That's right, I did say this. Camel face. Remember the camel face talk a few weeks ago? And then he got so upset because he was so abused, he went back to see his wife. His wife said, "You're back early. Have you got the eggs?" He said, "No." Why? Because this guy came up to me and abused me, called me names. And I don't like being called names in public. I don't like being abused. You like being abused in public? People calling you names in front of everybody else in the market? And his wife said, describe that fellow to me. And he described the fellow, and the fellow was easily recognizable to the wife. He said, "That's that mad guy, the crazy guy. When he was young, he fell on his head. He hit his head, and he's never been the same since. Brain damage, crazy. Poor fellow can't get a job. He just hangs around the market all day abusing people. It's not really anything to do with you. It's him. He's crazy. Husband, please go back. I really need those eggs." So he went back to the market, got those eggs, all the way to the egg store, and all the way back, this guy was abusing him. But it didn't matter now. Why? Because the guy was crazy, poor thing. And you know the punchline to that story? When the Buddha told that story, he said, "If your husband gets angry at you, he must have hit his head that morning. He's crazy." Temporary insanity. If your wife shouts at you, it's the same. Temporary insanity. Give her the benefit of the doubt. She must have hit her head. Isn't it the case? Because if someone abuses you, why would they abuse you if they're feeling sane? They cannot be sane. Therefore, understand. Give them the benefit of the doubt. They must have hit their head. You don't know why they're saying that to you. So have the benefit of the doubt. And don't get upset. This is actually how we even deal with the problems of the present moment. Give other people the benefit of the doubt, and give yourself the benefit of the doubt as well, which means being kind. Give the future the benefit of the doubt. Who knows what's going to happen next? The future is uncertain. We don't know. We cannot tell. Even the great fortune tellers, you know my favorite saying, never trust a poor fortune teller. Did I tell that story before about Ajahn Chah telling fortunes? When was the last time I told that? Okay. Yeah. See, I'm full of doubt. I don't know what I told last week and what I'm going to say now. I'm going to say this anyway. This was actually... Monks aren't supposed to tell fortunes, even though monks have got great powers. And sometimes people come up to monks and say, come on, tell me my fortune. Tell me what the numbers of the lottery are going to be. So this man came up to see my teacher Ajahn Chah years ago, and he said, look, I know you're a monk of great powers. I know you can tell the future. Read my fortune. Here, come on, read the lines on my palm. I said, no, monks can't do that. Against our rules. So now, come on, be compassionate, let go. And he reminded our teacher Ajahn Chah, he said, now look, I've looked after you, I've fed you, I've taken you here, there in my car, I've given up my work to help you, I've worked in this monastery all these years. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have a monastery to stay in, Ajahn Chah. And it was true, he was one of the chief supporters. He said, the least you can do for me after all these years is actually read the lines on my palm, tell me my fortune. He was so insistent that Ajahn Chah gave in. It's the only time in Ajahn Chah's life he read the lines on someone's palm and told them their fortune, told them their future. He took the man's palm and with his finger he started tracing the lines. And every now and again he'd say, ooh, look at that. Ooh, that's interesting. My word. And this poor man was getting so wound up, so excited. He couldn't wait for Ajahn Chah to give him his palm back. And when he eventually did, he said, yeah, what's my fortune going to be? And Ajahn Chah said very softly, sir, I never make a mistake. Yeah, I know that. Get on with it. Your future, yeah. Your future, sir, is uncertain. And Ajahn Chah was right. he got it spot on. He was winding him up all the time to teach him truth, Dhamma. If he just said that and just said, okay, the future's uncertain, who would believe that? But you do the slides on the hand trick and get people wound up, and he never forgets that lesson. So isn't it marvellous that the future's uncertain? So you've got a terrible cancer, and the doctor says you've only got a few months to live. I know heaps of people. They've been to the doctor and they said that, and they're still alive today, years afterwards. There's one guy here, he's supposed to die when I first came here 20 years ago, and he's still alive. Every time he comes to our monastery, I say, and some of you know him, Keith, I say, Keith, what are you doing? You're supposed to be dead. And he laughs. Isn't it so? The future's uncertain. You know that old story? The man who went to see the doctor? The doctor said, you've only got 1 month to live. And he said, doctor, I don't think I can pay your bill within 1 month. Okay, said the doctor, I'll give you 2 months to live then. Well, business is business. Doctors are going to make a living. So you see, the future is uncertain. So isn't it wonderful? Then we don't need to worry about what's going to happen next. when I get up here and speak, I haven't got a clue what I'm going to say. So isn't it great? I don't need to worry about what I'm going to say. I just tell a few jokes, say a few stories. Now, isn't that how to relax? When you're worried about what's going to happen next, then you always mess up. Isn't that true? When I was in Malaysia recently, people were asking me sort of, how can we make Buddhism more relevant, especially to the youth, to the kids? And I said, well, look, what are the kids interested in? Young boys are interested in young girls. Young girls are interested in young boys. So why don't we sort of teach Buddhism to make it relevant? So I gave a little talk upon how to chat up girls. And how to keep boys, how to keep your boyfriends. Using Buddhist principles. And it's true. I mean, it works. And this is why you get sort of more kids in here to enhance their social skills. Because what happens? I remember very clearly. I think I told this story before. When I was a young man, going to dances, going to discos, going to parties. You see a nice girl there. You'd plan what you were going to say. You'd rehearse it. You had your chat-up lines. And when you went up there, I don't know why it happens, excitement or whatever. You see the nice girl and you mess it up. You make an absolute idiot of yourself. You feel so embarrassed, you sort of slink away in the corner and cry. Or something like that. And you realize that's not the way. So the Buddhist way is actually just to let go. No fear of the future. The future's uncertain. So, give it the benefit of the doubt. You don't know what's going to happen. So without any plans, without any ideas, you just go up there and enjoy yourself. You're letting go. Being in the moment. Being mindful, great Buddhist teachings, being compassionate and kind to yourself and her. And that way you did much, much better. Because you came across relaxed, confident. You weren't afraid of the future. So that's actually how boys can shut up girls. And how girls can keep their boys, be mindful. When you're really, really mindful and you're really alert, you've got power over people. Because actually you get to know what they need and how to keep them in your control. It's amazing I say about, not controlling others, but I told a story down at, it's amazing just how I can get my own way as a monk. There's many different psychologies which I use. Last year, I can say this now because this is actually how I filled up the committee for the Buddha Society last year. I think we've got enough people on the committee for next year, or at least we've got a good number already. But we needed a vice president last year. And there was one person I saw who I thought would make a very good vice president. She was in our Armadale group. So I went up to her and said, look, why don't you become our vice president next year? And she said, no, I can't. I'm too busy. I've got business to run. I've got a family. Look, it's just too much work. I can't do it. So straight away, I used my Buddhist psychology, and I said, actually, I think you're right. Now, we should be more kind to people like you and compassionate. Look, it's not right. No, I know now I've asked you, you might feel guilty about this, so I'm going to be very firm with you. You can't come on our committee next year. I ban you. You cannot come. Don't even think about it. You are not allowed. And I left it. She said it was the next day, but I thought it was about 3 or 4 or 5 days. She rang me up and said, why can't I come on your committee? And she was our vice president this year. She fell for it. That was Rachel. Got her on our committee through Buddhist psychology. So it's amazing. If you want to keep your boyfriend or get rid of him, Buddhist psychology will work all the time. It's how to get your own way. So this is this is actually how you can sort of bring even the youngsters in, because it's making it relevant. And again, it's a lot of times that youngsters kids are very worried about the future. They've got their exams, TEE, or what's going to happen afterwards. They have to go to so many interviews. How do you succeed at an interview? You've got to be confident, which means you don't worry about the future. You let it go. You rest, you enjoy yourself in the moment. When you realize the future is so uncertain, that's how you use doubt positively. You don't know what's going to happen next. You cannot predict it. No one can. So, why worry? Using doubt positively. Sometimes you have doubt about yourself as well. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'm hopeless. How can someone like me come up and give a talk? You know, when I became abbot of this monastery, it was about 10 years ago now, when the previous abbot sort of left me